Today on Game Talk Live, we take a deep dive into E3 rumors and predictions. With the event now open to the public, the competition between publishers is more cutthroat than ever. All aboard the hype train. I'm Andy Roman, and welcome to Game Talk Live, where we discuss the biggest video game news of the day, live with help from our chat audience. Joining me now are three expert guests to discuss these gaming topics and more. First up is Marcus. Marcus Beer is a former PR director who has launched over 100 titles, including Ghost Recon, Delta Force, Black Hawk Down, and Fear. Marcus has more recently been a media commentator covering games for NBC4 in Los Angeles and hosted his own show, Annoyed Gamer, for GameTrailers.com. Hi, Marcus.
Woohoo, E3, woohoo!
Is that genuine? Are you genuinely excited?
It's genuine for about 20 minutes of the first day.
Okay, noted.
And then my feet start to hurt.
Oh, God. Also joining us today is Tal Blevins. He spent his time in the industry covering video game news. He helped launch GameSpot back in the mid-90s and is a co-founder of IGN.com. Hi, Tal.
Howdy.
And also joining us is Jess Villarreal, a former host and producer at Machinima and a co-founder of Voyager VR, a virtual reality software company that specializes in profound learning experiences. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Mandy. Thanks for having me back. Looking forward to talking all E3 stuff, so
I'm excited, for all of your different perspectives. So let's get right into it. E3 has come a long way since its first conference in 1995, with the most recent update being last year's ticket sales to the general public. Over its evolution, we've seen huge releases, publicity stunts, and extravagant booth displays. But let's get to the root. What was the original intention of E3? Marcus, why don't you start us off?
Well, from my perspective, back in the day when I was a PR guy working for the likes of Interactive Magic, who you will never have heard of, E3 for me was simply a boondoggle to get to Atlanta. And that's where the first couple of E3s, I mean, it was an offshoot from CES. I mean, everybody was going to CES and there was a big games presence. And then they decided that they wanted to offshoot it and turn it into this electronic entertainment expo. And the first ones I went to were in Atlanta in May/June, which if you're a British guy going to Atlanta in that time of year, I lost a lot of weight. I sweated a lot, but that was basically my first E3 experience, sweating.
Tal, was sweating involved in your first E3 experience?
So I'm old, like Marcus is, and I think I will have to refresh his memory because I believe the Atlanta one, at least one, was in August. And the air conditioner broke in the convention center, and it was the worst because it was about 95 degrees outside and probably about the same percentage of humidity in Atlanta that year. Absolutely crazy. And I went to the CES ones too, when really the fish finding electronics were on the top floor and all the games and the porn were down in the basement at CES in Chicago. So E3's definitely come a long way since the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Jessica, have you seen it evolve as well? I mean, I know you both worked and, attended the show for many years.
Absolutely, yeah. No, may I just add on to the sweat train here? So my first year was 2006, and I was actually hired as like an unofficial booth babe. And so basically they had me and my sister handing out flyers while at the convention. But since we weren't at a booth specifically, we got escorted out. And so we thought we still had a job to do, and so we started flyering cars, and so we were outside the whole day in the middle of June. I got sunburned all up and down my arms, all on my head and my scalp, and there was definitely a lot of sweat involved. So I just want to say I relate to you guys because it was pretty gnarly that year. But the evolution has been really incredible because that was my first year. And then the next year, 2007, I actually got invited to the E3 Business and Media Summit. So I was actually attending as press. And it was very interesting to see the crazy giant party, the loud music, the bright lights, the beautiful women that was E3 2006 turn into hotel suites on the Santa Monica Pier, watching these production crews like wheel down their giant carts of like camera equipment and lights all down, you know, the sandy beaches of Santa Monica. It was definitely very different. And then obviously throughout the years, it has become a little bit closer to what it was back in 2006. And now it is open to the public. So it's gone through a lot of revisions and transitions. But I think what we have today, what's coming up, is sort of like a good medium between what we've seen in the past. So.
So
I'm actually going to disagree with Jess there,
ahead,
just
Marcus.
very quickly and respectfully. I think E3 in its current form is heading towards the disaster days of 2007 was without a doubt the worst E3 ever. And in fact, it's the one E3 I didn't attend. I decided to go to Japan instead, and I had a much better time than all my friends who were working that particular time. And E3 has been up and it's been down. It's gone from a bloated mess to around 2009, 2010, much more refined, streamlined, worked really well. A lot of the noise was dialed down. A lot of the people who shouldn't have been attending the show weren't allowed in. And so we could actually go and take appointments or, you know, have meetings with people and actually get to those meetings the same day that we actually set off for them on. And now, unfortunately, with the advent of the general public, and you know, regular watchers of my Twitter feed or anything else I've done will hear a familiar refrain from me here. The public's got no place at E3. Anybody who's got an appointment for the first day of the show, for the first appointment slot, good luck trying to get in. You see it on your screen there. Yeah. Everybody's running. Everybody's trying to go and get the free swag from Nintendo. And then let's be totally honest. The smell by day 3 is absolutely rancid because people don't seem to bathe. They seem to think a free
Because of the sweating, Marcus. The sweating.
It's the sweating, and it's people coming to town. You know, 5 or 6 of them to a hotel room, buying their gamer pass and thinking, I won't need to change my clothes because I'll get some free T-shirts, but I also forgot my deodorant. This is unfortunately a really just rough side of E3, and I joke to a certain degree, but I mean, it does impact the ability of people who actually want to do business at the show, right, who want to cover the games, who want to have meetings with people. It's practically impossible for anybody to do business at E3 in its current state.
Yeah. Tal, do you want to add?
Reasons I liked the Santa Monica show was that it was small and it was right by the beach. Going to see games right by the beach can't be beat. You had a nice breeze. It wasn't nearly as sweaty as downtown LA. Also, tip for anybody going to E3 this year from the public, I agree with you, Marcus. I think actually Gamescom, they handle doing a public and a private business show much better because they have a separate area for that. E3 doesn't do that. They have separate hours. But pro tip, learn where the secret bathrooms are. Super, super important when trying to navigate the convention center because you don't want to be in a bathroom that 50,000 other people have been before you.
That is great
Dude,
advice.
don't give away our secret bathroom secrets.
I'm not saying where they are.
You're going to get kicked out the union. That's it. I'm excommunicating you.
You guys can DM me on Twitter if you want secret LA Convention Center bathrooms. I will give you the lowdown. You know, obviously we have our feelings about the public being loud at E3, but with more publishers and developers actually moving away from the show floor, noticeably Microsoft this year, is E3 in danger of ceasing to exist in its current iteration? Jessica, what do you think?
You know, I actually think it's a really great idea of Microsoft to go and use their actual Microsoft Theater in the facility that is the name of their company. I think it allows for more space on the show floor for other companies to sort of expand, but I think it's a great use of their own space to sort of cater to their business partners and their fans, because at the end of the day, yes, they do want to sell their games and the buyers do need to go in and have these appointments and sit down with them and be sold, but the fans are the ones that are going to buy these games. And I feel like if they can go into a space and try these games before they buy them, I think it's a really smart move on Microsoft's behalf. Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't go away in its current state. I mean, I love E3 and the way it's run. I mean, I do agree that sometimes, you know, last year I felt like having the public join in, it was a little bit hard to navigate, but it didn't anger me so much to where I was like, I hope that they eliminate the public from the event completely. But I mean, I just don't feel that aggression towards having the public on the show floor.
Well, this year they did implement a few hours in the morning for each day that is not permitted for the public to hopefully allow people that are there to work, get some form of meetings or productive work done in those first few hours. But is an event like E3 too big to the point where a company might forego announcing a new major title for fear of being kind of lost in the shuffle when there's so much noise and so many flashy lights? Tal, what do you think?
Absolutely. That's, one of our biggest pitches for E3 coverage at IGN was, hey, let us announce your game the week before E3 because you're not going to have anybody to compete with. At E3, there's so much cacophony, there's so much noise. People pay so much money. I just don't think it's worth it for companies to really attend E3 anymore. I think, the consumer show, it's all fine and dandy. I think you can do it in another format. I don't think it necessarily belongs at E3. But also think about as much money that you're spending to reach just a very small segment of your consumers. It just, to me, the costs just far outweigh any kind of benefit you're ever going to get from a show like this. And I'm a big believer that an industry like this needs a circus, but I think a lot of that can be done with either separate events now or online. Video and streaming is so much more important than it was when E3 was first concepted in the 90s as a big convention. I just don't know if you need to have such a big event that costs so much money. And, when you're announcing 4, 5, 6 dozen titles, who's going to get market share? I mean, really, we would see the data. And we would see that it was really 2 or 3 titles that would really get the bulk of user interest out of a show like that.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus, how has social media affected the con? Kind of speaking to what Tal was saying and releasing stuff prior to the actual event.
Well, I think we've seen that switch long before social media came up. Because when I was back in PR, all those years ago, we would have announcements before the show. We'd get everything out to everybody before the show. And now, I mean, it's become that it's the week of the show or 2 weeks before the show in the case of what was announced this morning. And I know we'll talk about Fallout 76 in a little while. But I mean, there's actually not that much announced at the actual convention anymore because Microsoft and Sony, they have their events beforehand. Ubisoft has their event. EA has their EA Play event. Where everything is announced before the actual show technically starts. So everybody still gets their moment in the sun. So I don't think, social media and, Facebook, Twitter, etc. has really destroyed E3 in any way, shape or form. I just think it's an unwieldy beast that needs refining. And, I'm not aggressive against members of the public being in at E3. I would love to see it handled like Tokyo Game Show or as like Gamescom in Germany. I just think it needs to be run a lot better and, a lot more input taken on board from the publishers as well, who do pay $7, $8, $9 million a booth. For those big jumbo booths. They're a small fortune, and I think they need to have their input taken on board.
Yeah. So we saw yesterday a 24-hour stream from Bethesda with very little actually shown on the screen, which was a lead-in to the reveal trailer for Fallout 76. So considering how many eyeballs were actually on this stream, it was in the 6 figures. I mean, do we need events like E3? Jessica?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think having the ability to promote your product before E3 actually happens is a great business tool. I mean, you said yourself, there's several hundreds of thousands of eyes on this trailer before it even releases. I do think it still does need to be at E3 because I feel like this is just like the teaser. This is just like the appetizer to whet the appetite of what's to come at E3. And then E3 is the big coming out party, the big reveal. And I kind of like the way they do it because now we're still 2 weeks away from E3, but we're all having this conversation around this one thing and all eyes are on, the Bethesda Fallout 76 teaser trailer announcement, and we're all talking about it. And then once it actually gets here at E3, I think everyone's just going to be really excited with what they have to present.
I mean, go ahead, Marcus.
Can I just add to that? The beauty of E3 is that the teaser trailer was announced this morning. We've got the Bethesda, the B3 event the Sunday before the show. And then on Tuesday at the show, I guarantee you be able to walk up to the Bethesda booth and play Fallout 76. And as a member of the games media, or as a gamer, that in itself is worth having E3 around for. The fact that you can go and have these demonstrations, you can go and play the games hands-on. There'll probably be a VR version, and we'll get a chance to look at that so we can start sharing our opinions, because E3 is vital for shows like this, for us to be able to talk about what's relevant in the games industry. And the fact that we can go and play these games and talk to the developers and come back with a more formed opinion and some facts behind it, as opposed to supposition that's been hitting all day, is actually a great thing. I know that's blasphemy in modern day America, that facts should supersede supposition, but we're going to give it a try.
Yeah, Tal, do you think that's key to E3, is actually, like Marcus said, this hands-on with the games that have been announced?
Being able to have a concentration of games that are coming up and being able to get hands-on time with them all at one place without having to go to, say, a dozen different events, absolutely. I mean, that is the one thing that E3 still has going for it. You get a lot more traction out of the press or the media at E3, being able to present your titles. You don't have to go to each of the media outlets yourself. So there is a little bit of, you get a concentration of media there. Like, for a public show, I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it, simply because I think it's going to make doing business and actually trying to get that message that you want out and even get press people into your booths a little bit harder, because it's going to be a little bit more packed. Look at the Nintendo booth at E3 every year, for example. There's always a line that wraps through the convention center, and it just makes it super hard to get anywhere around that, even though, Nintendo has private press rooms for people to see demos, but it just creates more of a cacophony and more of a elbow to elbow than it really kind of needs to be, in my opinion. And also, look at one of the most successful game developers and publishers in the world, Rockstar. They haven't attended E3 or really made a huge E3 presence in for as long as I can remember, and they still do great. Being able to do their own announcements for like Red Dead Redemption or GTA, and being able to really control that message and have everything eyes on them at that time. They certainly have a cachet that they bring, to the gaming industry that not every publisher and developer does. But there is something to be said for being able to really have your own day for your message and really be able to have all eyes on you as well.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk more about what we know so far regarding Bethesda's Fallout 76 in just a minute, but it's time to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name's Todd. We're going to be playing some H1Z1, and a lot of you out there are going to be able to win some prizes by guessing when our guests die. Sasha, are you ready to go play some H1Z1?
Let's do this.
I think we've seen this story before.
We got a lot of guests tonight from all over the world. They're competing for a trophy, our Champion of the Night prize. Which one of you is going to be the best player tonight?
Anybody that comes in my way is done.
Get a helmet, get a backpack, get a rifle.
Kill everyone.
Kill that person.
Engage.
Kill. Oh my God!
I give the people what they want to see.
Oh my God!
Oh wow, he took a big hit. He got it, guys!
Can you throw me in like the Norwegian server or like someplace where they're just not gonna find me?
No.
Did I die first?
No one's died that early in the game ever.
We have 75 players in each here. Let me hear you make some noise.
All right, welcome back, everybody. After a 24-hour live stream, Bethesda has finally revealed their latest title, Fallout 76. Rumor has it this title will be online, so is this just a way of most AAA titles nowadays? What can we expect from Fallout 76? Tal, what do you think?
The online rumor's been going around all day, and yeah, I mean, it seems pretty credible. I don't know if if Bethesda would really be ready to do a full-on big single-player experience again right now, given how their dev cycles work. That said, it worries me because I do think E3 this year is going to be the year of Battle Royale, and everything is going to be Battle Royale. I hope it's not a Fallout Battle Royale. To me, that just doesn't fit the Fallout universe. Now, I'm all for like a Fallout State of Decay or H1Z1 survival, kind of, the fittest. We'll see what their online mode actually really is if this is an online game. But I have my worries with it, and I like I said, I hope it's not like a shooter Fallout Battle Royale. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, Jessica, what are you speculating about this next Fallout title?
I mean, no, I agree too. I mean, I saw, like a picture the other day that said all E3, it's going to be like Battle Royale, Madden, Half-Life 3, Battle Royale, like all these jokes and with like Call of Duty announcing their Battle Royale mode. I think I agree with Tal in that I'm good with the Battle Royale modes or genre for now. And so I did also hear rumors that this would, in fact, be like an online survival RPG, sort of like DayZ. And if it is in the vein of DayZ, sort of this, single player survival of the fittest mode, I can definitely see that because of it being like a growing trend, because this idea of surviving in these worlds that are created sort of takes us back to this very primitive instinct that we just don't get in real life. And I think gamers enjoy that sort of adrenaline rush of having to stay on their toes or scavenging for items to be powerful. And so, the DayZ model works. And so I don't see why we couldn't have fun with that sort of world in Fallout.
Mm-hmm. Brian in chat says, is hoping for Fallout Shelter with even better graphics and more players. Marcus, what do you think? Tal says no.
Yeah, I'm with Tal on that one. That's a terrifying prospect. Fallout Shelter is a lot of fun, by the way. I really hope it doesn't go down the Battle Royale mode. I think if we will see anything, and the people who are developing the online component are Battlecry Studios out of Austin. They were working on the game Battlecry that was then cancelled by Bethesda. So I'm thinking maybe that we'll actually see some arena combat within a more traditional Fallout game, where it's almost like, and this is for you old people who think Mad Max began with Fury Road, there was a movie back in the dark times called Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with Tina Turner in it. Look her up. Yeah. Your grandparents love her.
Only watch the first half hour. You can skip the rest of the film.
But a great soundtrack.
A fantastic soundtrack. But I mean, that's the point, is that you can actually have an online component, a combat component in Fallout that is perhaps more of an arena driven, that is a part of the game, not the overriding part of the game. But the other thing I'm hearing is that it's going to be like an MMO light in a lot of ways, where we're going to hear a lot about building settlements, populating them with your friends, getting together, going on quests together. And let's face it, the quests on Fallout, I mean, Fallout 4, some of the quests are a little bit dodgy, but if we look at some of the quests on Fallout New Vegas, they were fantastic. And Fallout is known for some really great storytelling. And to be able to do that in a group and be able to get some really meaty quests together, that's going to be a lot of fun. My worry is, and look, I've got a lot of faith in Bethesda, I don't think they're going to be daft enough to go the Battle Royale route and turn this into fast food gaming, because I'm sorry, Fallout is a blooming banquet. It's not fast food.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up Mad Max, Marcus, because Rage 2 was also announced, and I assume we'll see some sort of gameplay opportunity at E3. With Borderlands 3 on the horizon as well, though, do you think these two titles are going to kind of race to the finish on who's going to get released first? Because I'm having Battleborn Overwatch flashbacks. Tal, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that is the concern. I thought the exact same thing, right? It's a very similar kind of setting. It's post-apocalyptic, gathering guns and shooter. So we'll see. I think people are interested in both. Rage didn't quite get the hype that Borderlands got back in the day. But I also think they were very different in that, it was very much, one was a loot collector and one was kind of a post-apocalyptic Mad Max shooter. I think there's room for both. It'll be really interesting to see, because the Rage 2 trailer with all the live action, we haven't seen a lot of the gameplay yet. We've seen little bits and clips and hints like we just showed. But it'll be really interesting to see more at E3. And obviously, we haven't heard really anything about Borderlands 3 yet, other than obviously it's coming. So it'll be interesting to see where those two go. But I could definitely see them being in competing terms. Let's hope they have the windows a little bit separated and they give themselves a little bit of breathing room.
Absolutely.
No, let's put them out the same day and give them each a blooming battle axe.
Oh, and then they'll have a real battle royale for who's going to be
real battle royale.
Oh, there you go.
The last CEO standing gets to release their game.
Oh my God. So Kingdom Hearts 3, do you think we will actually get a release date for this title? Or Marcus, what do you got? Please tell me what kind of actual release date that they stick to.
I'm sorry. do you want my phone so you can call somebody who cares? I've never been into Kingdom Hearts, so I know there are a lot of people. You know, there are people on this panel. You should definitely talk to them about Kingdom Hearts. It's that Disney Final Fantasy game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Jessica, do you think we'll get an actual release date?
You know, I really hope so. I really hope so. I mean, the first that we heard that this game was confirmed was in 2013. It's been 5 years. You know, I'm ready to hear of a release date. I'll be very, very, very interested to see if it's a timed Sony exclusive and they announce that release date and then Xbox at a later date. You know, it's all up in the air right now. And I think even at the recent Kingdom Hearts 3 event, they even said they hope to have a date announcement by June. So it's really all up in the air. As much as I hope that there will be an announcement, I do sort of understand if they aren't ready to announce it because, you know, on the other side of the 5-year wait, it's like, what's another few months if they don't have it ready to announce?
No, come on. The clock is ticking, y'all. I am waiting. There have been like 14 Kingdom Hearts titles, and none of them are Kingdom Hearts 3.
I know.
Sorry, I have to get a little passionate about that for a second.
I get it. I mean, I'm excited too, and of course I want to play it too, but you know, I'm also busy playing Destiny 2 right now, and there's a few other games that I want to catch up on.
All right.
I'm distracted enough to that when they are ready to announce Kingdom Hearts 3's release date, it'll be extra special.
All right, moving along, let's talk about Ubisoft here for a second. Their lineup includes new information and content for Beyond Good and Evil 2, The Division 2, this Assassin's Creed spinoff title Skull and Bones, which looks pretty promising. So, Tal, what do you got? Is there something from Ubisoft that you're particularly hyped about or would like to see from them?
You just said Skull and Bones. You know, I played it last year, got some hands-on time with it. Can't wait to see how that game has come along in the past year. When I first saw when they showed Assassin's Creed Black Flag years ago, right? I was like, man, I really hope they have this in-depth ship combat system, and it just wasn't there in the game. I mean, in that preview, I was just like, oh, it looks so good. And finally they announced Skull and Bones, and now we're seeing this big ship combat system. So yeah, so I had a great time with it. I think it was 3 teams of 5-on-5, if I remember correctly from last year.
Oh wow!
So small multiplayer, and you could pick like a small, really fast ship, a medium-sized ship, or a big, heavy ship. It was a lot of fun, and actually you had to do a lot of strategy with getting in the shoals and tacking your sails the right way and getting the treasure. Really looking forward to that one. Transference is another one that I'm really looking forward to. Their VR title, had some chance to play that last year as well, by the studio that was founded by Elijah Wood, and that one was almost reminded me of PT, but in VR. Talk about how scary that sounds. Right, but the themes it goes around is dealing with PTSD, and it's kind of a psychological thriller. I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror game, but it did freak me out when I played it last year.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's actually the one that I was sort of looking forward to also, because I'm just a big VR buff, and I love the horror genre, and that just looked extra visceral and creepy, and sort of bending the not being able to tell the difference between reality and being inside the headset, or how they were touting it that way. I'm really looking forward to hearing more information about that and possibly trying it, because if something can scare me, especially in virtual reality, I applaud it, because I'm sort of desensitized to horror, and so I welcome the challenge, Ubisoft.
All right.
Division 2. I'm really looking forward to
Division 2.
Well, I'm a huge Division player. Still play it to this day, and really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in the sequel.
Yeah. All right, the biggest game in the world, Fortnite, will also be making a huge splash at the show, including a massive celebrity pro-am tournament with 50 streamers against 50 celebrities. They have a booth, and there's a huge after party as well. So, Marcus, do you think the future of E3 is at these big, crazy kind of experiential events outside the convention itself?
If it gets to that stage, then E3 is just going to die on its backside. I almost said ass, but I know I'm not allowed to say that. No, I think we've discussed E3 it needs to strike a balance. These big events, these big parties, they've always gone on. I mean, Sony have had their events, Microsoft have had theirs, and everything's been everybody's met afterwards. This is so not my demographic, this Fortnite E3 thing. I've been lucky enough to be invited to it, so I'm hoping to get some education on this because I am the oldest man in the world. I tried playing Fortnite, and I suck like a vacuum cleaner when it comes to this game. It's just not good at all. But look, the fact is there's so many people playing it, and they're enjoying it, and they're pumping the money back into the games industry, which is great. They're having great experiences, and the games are, when we started off, Tal and myself, 20, 30 years ago, we would never have thought that our major sporting stars would be doing Fortnite, game-related salutes and dances or whatever as celebrations. So the fact that this has become, a cross-media, transmedia sensation, and it's populated the psyche of parents now as well, is just fantastic. And that's not bad for games, as long as the games continue to be good. So I'm looking forward to going to Epic's party and having a few of Epic's drinks.
Fantastic. All right, thank you guys so much to both our viewers and our guests. Tell us what title you are most excited to get hands-on with at E3 and where people can find you online, starting with Marcus.
Well, I'm Team Fallout. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be strapping on the Pip-Boy for E3. Fallout 76, want to look at it, want to spend so much time with it, they might have to kick me off the booth at some point. You can find me on Twitter. I'm @AnnoyedGamer, and I will probably be live tweeting the Sony and Microsoft and press conferences on my Twitter stream with a bottle of scotch, which means it's educational.
Great. Thanks, Marcus. All right, Tal, which title are you most excited for, and where can people find you online?
I'm not even going to say what title I'm excited for. The thing I'm most excited for is Devolver's press conference this year. The Devolver press conference last year was such a departure from anything you've seen at E3 and hilarious. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do this year to really put their own mark on E3. You can find me on Twitter at Talign, TALIGN. I am going to be hopefully with Marcus drinking that bottle of scotch while the press conferences are going on. That sounds great.
Excellent. All right, Jessica, title you're most excited for and where people can find you on social.
Well, I'm really hoping that they will have a playable demo or at least more information about Bayonetta 3 this year at Nintendo's booth. If they do, I will sleep out if I have to get a chance to play that game because I'm that excited about it. So we'll see. But you can find me on Twitter at JessV, JESV, or my VR company at Voyager VR. And I'm going to find all of you, including you gentlemen, at the Epic party and hopefully have some epic drinks together.
Great. All right. Thanks to everyone who watched, commented, and shared the show. I'm Andy Roman. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and watch Game Talk Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you next time.